certified diamond in a designer mounting, just $500 a month. Hurry, this once-a-year offer at Diamonds Direct will not last long. 5 years, 0 interest, nothing down and nothing held back. Only at Diamonds Direct in Dallas and Frisco on approved credit.
Hi, this is Kimberly Kinzer, a full service immigration attorney. I handle green cards for family members and employees, deportation defense, fiancé visas, investors' visas, employment visas, Violence Against Women's Act petitions, asylum, citizenship, including waivers for the English and history exams. My law firm is experienced in handling complicated cases, cases pending too long, and most importantly, federal litigation. Call 972-491-1145. For all of your immigration needs, call Kinzer Law Office in Richardson, 972-491-1145.
हिंदुस्तान ये देश है अलग अलग परंपराओं के संगम का, और जब खाने की बात हो तो ये संगम और भी प्यार से हो जाता है। पूरा हिंदुस्तान इन पकवानों के स्वाद में जैसे घुल मिल सा जाता है। ऐसे ही एक बेहतरीन खाने पीने का संगम मिलेगा आपको विष्णु जी की रसोई पर। पूरन पोली हो या आलू पराठा, छोले भटूरे हो या जुमका पाक, श्रीखंड हो या गाजर का हलवा, सब कुछ मिलेगा आपको विष्णु जी की रसोई पर। From the kitchen of renowned chef Vishnu Manohar, we bring to you the best of Maharashtrian and Punjabi cuisine. तो इस बेहतरीन संगम को चखने के लिए तैयार हो जाइए at 2023 West McDermott Drive in Allen. विष्णु जी की रसोई पर आइएगा जरूर।
Anwar Azam CPA PC are certified public accountants who can handle your tax planning and consulting, IRS audit representation, audited, reviewed, and compiled financial statements, bookkeeping and accounting, payroll management, and sales tax audits.
Hi listeners, this is Anwar Azam CPA. For more information, you can call our office 469-340-2100 or go our website www.aacpapc.com.
The number again is 469-340-2100 or www.aacpapc.com. If you're looking for a primary care doctor, board certified in internal medicine, practicing for more than 10 years here in the Dallas Metroplex, Dr. Swati Mahapatra specializes in treating chronic medical conditions and practicing preventative medicine. She has primary care offices in Plano and McKinney, and you can call her at 972-758-4455 to schedule an appointment. She's accepting new patients, doing televisits during the COVID pandemic, as well as face-to-face clinic appointments. Her practice has on-site labs and diagnostic imaging facilities. 972-758-4455 for Dr. Swati Mahapatra.
শ্রোতা বন্ধুরা ওয়েলকাম ব্যাক টু রেডিও আড্ডা সাউন্ড অফ বাংলাদেশ। আজকের দ্বিতীয় অধ্যায়ে আপনাদেরকে আমন্ত্রণ জানাচ্ছি। আমরা কিছুক্ষণের মাঝেই আমাদের যে অতিথি আছে তাদেরকে অন এয়ারে নিয়ে নেব। ততক্ষণ পর্যন্ত আপনারা আমাদের সাথে থাকুন। আমাদের ফোন নাম্বার 214-817-3333। শ্রোতা বন্ধুরা, we are on air in 700 AM এবং 104.1 FM. আপনারা কোথাও যাবেন না। We will bring our guest on here with us in just a few minutes. We'll be joining Abigail and Ashraful with us, and we'll introduce them as we bring them on. শ্রোতা বন্ধুরা, আপনারা যারা আমাদের সাথে অন ইয়ারে আগে ছিলেন, আপনারা জানেন আমরা নতুন একটি সেগমেন্ট শুরু করেছি। So stay on with us, and we will have this segment separate. Only reason it's like we have our exclusive segment that we're doing today, Safe Shelter in Bangladesh. So বন্ধুরা, I will let Sunny go ahead and introduce our guest with us. So just stay tuned.
Listeners, on this section of the Radio Adda show, we will have a couple of guests. So we'll talk about them. So let me just don't mention their name, and then once we bring them on air, then we'll talk to them. In this section, we'll try to speak mostly English and then some Bengali. So again, I'd like to welcome Abigail. She works for International Organization for Migration. Abigail, can you hear me? Hello?
Abigail, can you hear us? Abigail, can you hear us? Hello?
Hello, Abigail. Abigail, can you hear us? Abigail, can you hear us? Abigail,
She said, I can hear you, but we can hear her. So we're not able to hear about, but
can
she
you
can hear
call
us.
back again?
Abigail, if you can just give us a call back again, and then we'll just try and see a different way. It's the phone systems always changes here, so it's sometimes hard to keep up. So yeah, let's try calling. Hello, Abigail. Are you online here? Hello, Abigail. Can you hear us?
Abigail, can you hear us?
I think we disconnected. Hello, this is Ashraf.
Oh, Ashraf. Hang on
Okay.
1 second,
Yeah,
Ashraf. One
yeah, I
second.
could. Yeah, okay.
Hello.
Hi, Abigail, can you hear us?
Hi, Sunny. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Okay, we are good.
Oh,
Let me
great.
bring Ashraf with us. Let me give me 1 second. Ashraf, can you hear us?
Yes, yes, I can.
And Abigail, are you on
Yes,
also? Okay,
yes,
good,
hi,
good, good,
Ashraf.
good, good. Okay, sorry about that. So there's always some telephony tricks. So welcome, Abigail and Ashraful, to Radio at the Show on air. We are broadcasting from Dallas, Fort Worth. We are on air 700 AM and 104.1 FM. Also, people can go listen to by downloading the Join the Caravan app or going to jointhecaravan.com. Also, we have our live streaming going on from the Radio at the Facebook page, YouTube account. So many ways people can listen. And again, welcome to our show. We call Radio Adda. We are on air since 2010 with the Radio Caravan. So again, welcome to Radio Adda show. And I have Tanya with me here.
Hi, I wanted to welcome Abigail and Ashraful. How are you all?
Thank you.
Good, good.
Thanks so much. Doing great. Doing great. Happy to be here with you all on Saturday. Thanks so much for having us with you.
Well, we really thank both of you to join us on this Saturday, because I know Saturday is the time that you keep it for your families, but you're taking out those time and giving it to us. That's really so sweet of you all, like, to do that. I mean, it's a pleasure for, I think, the whole Radio at the team and their listeners.
Oh, so happy to hear that. And glad also that I think you share your Saturdays, with a different family, with the larger Bangladeshi community. So it's a really cool, really cool radio station.
So, Abigail or Ashraful, whoever want to go, I would like you all to say, what is a I know you guys do IOM, that UN, the like a organization. So I think Sunny would go and
Yeah,
do a
basically,
brief
if you guys can introduce yourself
self. Yeah.
briefly, at least for our audiences, so they know what they're listening, and then you go from there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So whoever want to go first.
Yeah, Abigail, you.
Yeah, maybe I'll go first, since I do work for the IOM, which stands for the International Organization for Migration. It's part of the United Nations. It's the UN Migration Agency, really kind of with the overall goal of promoting humane and orderly migration for the benefit of everyone. So the IOM does a lot of different things in over 173 countries. So it's a really, really large organization. I'm based in Washington, D.C., and I've been a part of IOM Washington, D.C.'s diaspora engagement unit since December. So a little less than a year, but I feel like I know the organization quite well already, which is really nice. Happy to talk to you about like what IOM does in general and a little bit more about what we do specifically in the diaspora engagement unit too. But I want Ashraf to also introduce himself.
Hey, this is Ashraf Islam. I am in Seattle, Washington, and uh, there's a community organization here, Project Bangladesh. I'm the president of that. By profession, I'm a civil engineer. Uh, I came to USA in 2003. I finished my PhD from University of South Carolina, and in 2007 I moved to Seattle. So it's a wonderful Bangladeshi community here. Um, I live here with my family. I have two kids. So as Abigail mentioned, one of the goal of IOM is they are trying to make some collaboration with Bangladeshi diaspora community, and that's how I came into the picture. So we got connected a few months ago, so that we can work closely together to share some information with the Bangladeshi community on safe housing and many others.
Thank you, Ashraf Bhai, joining from Seattle, and thank you, Abigail. This is very important. So I just want to tell our listeners. I know a lot of people are requesting song and stuff. We will we'll play music, and we'll play because we'll have a still hour to go after this segment. But this is very important segment because you know how our country always face the disaster. So and this is very important, the information they will share. So we'll go ahead ask this question, disaster risk reduction. So if one of you can shed some light on what is DRR, why it is important.
Yeah, thanks, Sunny. I wish that maybe we had a jingle or a song about DRR, which it stands for Disaster Risk Reduction. And so, like you mentioned, unfortunately, Bangladesh experiences, so many storms and flooding and drought and all of these kind of hazards. So that's one component of risk, right? So we kind of see risk. I'm sorry to give you some math on a Saturday, but we kind of look at risk as like an equation where it's a number of different components. The first being hazards. So like we mentioned, the cyclones and flooding and all of those other hazards that exist, multiplied by geography. So, where Bangladesh is based in the river basin, things like that can increase risk, and also vulnerability. So that's kind of, the state of someone's house maybe, or, their resources, things like that. But all of that can be mitigated or divided by capacity, which is, people's knowledge and skills, and also the availability of carpenters, materials, and land to kind of mitigate or get around all of those other three variables. So that's kind of the equation for risk, if that was not too complicated for a Saturday. And what we're looking at with reducing that risk is actually increasing capacity. So raising awareness is one way of doing that, or decreasing vulnerability. So, if someone's house is actually stronger and better built for flooding, then their risk would be lower.
And Ashraf Bhai, do you have anything to add to it?
No, a lot of us have experience actually in dealing with disasters in Bangladesh. I don't live in well, I was in Bangladesh. I did not live in coastal region. I'm from Bangladesh. But I have seen the severe flood in 1988. So I have seen so many people uprooted from their houses. I wish people had the knowledge of making their safe shelters. The problem is, Bangladesh is a small country, and we need to deal with the disasters throughout the year. Now it is getting worse because of the climate change,
Mm-hmm.
and people in a lot of cases actually people are forced, kind of forced to live in the risky areas. Um, like it's a very plain land, so a lot of people actually live on or very near to the floodplain. So, in simple terms,
Mm-hmm.
floodplain is the area where it will be inundated due to a flood, and it's a so common thing. Like in coastal regions, you will see due to a cyclone how many people need to get shifted from their houses. So I see lot of people don't have that awareness or don't have that
Mm-hmm.
knowledge to make their houses safe.
Yes, it's absolutely very important. So, listeners, whoever just join or listening to us, these segments we are talking about safe shelter or safer shelter in Bangladesh or any other country, maybe. What to do and what we can do, how we can prepare and to save lives. This is at the bottom of the line is how to save lives. So again, we have Abigail and Ashraf from Seattle and Abigail from Washington, D.C. She works for UN branch of IOM, yeah, so International Organization for Migration. So we are getting some information from them. And again, thank you all for joining.
Um, I don't know if you guys remember. I don't know if Ashraful, if you remember. I remember, like, back in I was in back home at that time in high school. Uh, 91, in summer in I think March or April, around that time. I think April 5th, if I remember correctly. Um, uh, in Chittagong, there was a, like, tornado. Like, I remember
Yeah.
seeing. I was in Chittagong at that time, and I remember seeing it, just like, it felt like, the fire is on the sky. It
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
actually burned the trees ahead, and it was so bad that, as you know, the Chittagong is the main for the all the ships, all the, like, all the businesses, like, like exporting in all those things. It's mainly in Chittagong, like, like, shipment, like, shipping businesses, like, when you say.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so bad that, those big ships were on the shore. It was that bad.
Wow.
They were pulled
Wow.
on the shores. I remember going to those, like, there was dead bodies on the trees, like,
Mm.
it was awful. It was awful to see everything. So it's like, I want to ask you guys, have will you just briefly say, like, what did you mean by safe shelter?
Abigail can maybe just a little bit on their program, but like I'm a civil engineer. I deal a lot of things related to these things. But in one term, I would say safe shelter is to make this disaster resilient or the climate change resilient, so that it
Yeah.
can withstand the challenges that are coming from the climate change related issues.
And what about you, Abigail? What is in your point of view safer shelters and BBS?
Yeah, I mean, Ashraf's exactly right that safe shelters are resilient. They can kind of, not only meet basic needs of having a roof over your head, but they can also withstand, future disasters. And the example that you shared is so horrible that we want people to be able to be safe when the floods happen, when the cyclones come, so that they can stay in their homes and that home will be able to protect them from what's, unfortunately not a matter of if, but when the next storm comes. Um, and we know also that shelters aren't, safe shelters aren't just important for that, for kind of general protection, but it also, has a positive impact on health, safety of women and girls, improves, education opportunities for children. So there's lots of different ways to kind of look at what we mean by safe shelters, and also examples, specifically based on what works well in Bangladesh. So we're happy to share some resources and links with you to share with all the listeners if they're interested in learning, how to build a strong foundation, use of pillars, and what materials are needed, things like that. We can share that info.
Yes, great. So, listeners, again, we are talking about safe shelter and the time of disaster in Bangladesh or any other third world country facing this. So, and we have Abigail from International Organization for Migration. She works from Washington D.C. Also, we have our Bangladeshi representative Ashraf from Seattle. Again, thank you both of you to taking your time on this Saturday to share this. This is very important because if we are not prepared, we lost more lives. So preparation is the bottom line, that it helps to save any life and possible. So listeners, if you guys have any question or anything for them, you can call 214-817-3333, 214-817-3333, or your whoever online or with joining with our streaming, they can ask the question too. I know a lot of people from Bangladesh too. So we have about 7 minutes left. So let's go get to our next question. To Abigail, how does diaspora engagement in these projects that you are working on it?
Yeah, I mean, first maybe I'll briefly define what we mean by diaspora. It's really a very broad definition, which I really love, and I think it's something that a lot of people can relate to. So it's just a community of people and their descendants or family who live outside of their country of heritage. So it can be people who have migrated from Bangladesh to the U.S. and their children, so second, third generation. And really, it's if you're maintaining these connections with your family and communities back home in Bangladesh, you can also, as members of the diaspora, kind of use the information and the resources that you have to help or to benefit those that who are in Bangladesh. So you can, if you are able to learn some information on what safe shelters are, then you can share that with your family. You can help them if they're trying to build a house after a storm to know how to rebuild that better so that it can maybe withstand the next storm. So it's a lot of information sharing. Knowledge is power. And I think, you having that direct link to people in communities, to people who, could be affected, it's such a better link than other humanitarian organizations, like the IOM, who doesn't have a direct connection. So maybe Ashraf can also speak about that, from his perspective as a representative of the Bangladeshi community too.
Yeah, thanks, Abigail. So awareness is the key here. I remember some 5-6 years ago, I was having lunch with one of my then colleagues in my office, and I think he just the night before he watched a documentary on climate change and how it is affecting Bangladesh. He was so worried that he wanted to talk with me. He was talking that your Sundarban will be in, underwater, and many part of Bangladesh will be underwater, in so many years or something like that. Are not you worried? I just told them I am possibly not worried because I don't hear these things, in Bangladeshi community, because very likely people don't believe in these things and they don't see it coming. Okay. So I see a lot, lack of awareness in the community. So this is where we can help. like in your radio show or in any sort of engagement in the Bangladeshi community. We can, discuss these issues. You can share the resources, some of the resources that IOM is offering, those type of things.
Let me interrupt. I'm so sorry because we have about 2.5 before we're going to hit the automatic break. So, Abigail, if you guys share some your resources where people can get more detailed information, also we will post all the information to our radio at the page too. So go ahead and then you can do your closing statement about a couple of minutes left.
Great. Thanks so much. Yeah, we have lots of different, resources to share. The first that I'll mention is we have a training open to all diaspora members. It's next Thursday. So yeah, I'll share that link with you if you would like to register and learn more exactly about what we're talking about. We also have a Build Back Safer Facebook group that you can join, and we add different, resources and information there. And there's also this website that there's some information and educational materials that, flyers or different things like that you can actually download and send to anyone if you're interested. So we'll send you the link to that website as well.
Also, whoever on the streaming, I did send the link. Is there iom.int. You will find a lot of information there. And I'm sorry, I'm rushing a little bit, but again, very briefly, Ashraf Bhai, go ahead.
Yeah, first of all, thank you, Radio Adda. I hope we can have Adda and another time.
Of course.
Okay. And it's good to be connected with the IOM. As I said, we love our Bangladesh. We love Bangladesh. We didn't forget about Bangladesh. We are always connected to Bangladeshi people. We have our beloved ones here. So it is our responsibility to share whatever good information we have on the safe shelter and whatnot, so that people can be aware of the disasters.
Thank you, Ashraf Bhai, and thank you, Abigail. I just want to let our listeners know a lot of music, song requests, and we'll do it next segment. So whoever online, I will disconnect the online and create another one in a second. So please rejoin so you can listen to your song. The reason I'm doing this, so we can keep this segment separate so we can share to other people over and over so they can get better.
You're listening to KZMJ K2816CS, Lucas, McKinney, 104.1 FM KHSE, Wiley, 700 AM, Radio Caravan. Join the caravan, powered by Discount Power. For more information, visit discountpowertx.com.
जब मिली है भोजपुरिया सारा अमेरिका ही ले ला हो DFW ही ले ला
ठीक सुननी है रवा लोगों के भोजपुरी एसोसिएशन ऑफ नॉर्थ अमेरिका मनावता अपन एनुअल इवेंट 2 अक्टूबर के सांझे 7 बजे तो मिल के तनी भोजपुरिया धमाल मनावे के हमनी के काहे की हमनी के भाई भोजपुरिया हमनी के भाई. For more information, contact Vibhuti Pandey at 972-822-0750.
Hi Vaibhav, do you know any realtor that can list my home for sale?
Arey yaar, anyone can list a home in this market. But if you're looking for someone to market your home extensively and get you top dollar, go with Ajay Prabhu of Beam Real Estate.